Yeah, he's probably faster than I am. Hello inner tubes, different spokes here. Riding these lovely roads with Brooke on the back. I just did my first track day yesterday and I'll tell you all about it. So, full disclosure, this was not the first time I was on the track. I once took a track riding school and we spent some time on a very small, very untechnical track for a day, but this was like 6 years ago, so I didn't remember anything, and this is the kind of skill that you need to maintain in order to stay good at it. So I basically considered myself a complete noob. I do a lot of road riding and I do a lot of riding on gravel roads and some riding in the dirt here, but there's basically, I have no track riding experience whatsoever. And so this video is going to be a look at a track day from a complete noob's perspective. If you're a seasoned track pro, you're not going to get a lot out of this. But a lot of riders who are used to the track forget how difficult and scary it is for a rider to go on the track for the first time. And that's why I'm putting this out there for the newbies who are thinking of doing their first track day. I'm going to share my experiences with you and let you know what you should be expecting and what you should be kind of mentally preparing yourself for. So, first of all, the story. How did this track day come about? Well, my buddy David, who has been on the channel before once, I called him Epic OG before, he has a couple of track bikes and he does track days all around the world and is quite the seasoned track rider. He's in the fast group. He's got a Ducati V4 Panigale. And his backup bike is a 1098S, which has been turned into a complete race bike. And he offered for me to take the 1098 out for a track day with him. Now, this was a big opportunity. You don't often get a chance to ride a super bike on a really good track, and so I said yes. Now, after I said yes, I realized that I was way over my head because, first of all, a newbie should not be taking out a 1098S. Not only is this a 1098S, it's been turned into a complete track bike. It's got track fairing on it, which is lighter. The cooling fan is pulled out to make it lighter. It's got pure carbon wheels. It's got GP shifting, so the shifting, in case you don't know what that is first gear is up and second through sixth are down. It's opposite of what your normal motorcycle rider is used to, and takes a little bit of time for your brain to rewire itself. And it's got a full Termiani system on it with it's probably rated at about 180 horsepower at the crank. So this was way too much bike for me to take out, and I am man enough to admit that I was way intimidated by this bike. The only other time I've been out on the track, it was on a old GSXR 600, and that bike didn't scare me nearly as much as this one did. In addition to the bike being super intimidating, the track we went to was also super intimidating. It's Calabogie racetrack near Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, and it is a very technical racetrack. This racetrack has 20 turns on it. It's got a lot of kind of double apex turns, a lot of little hills where there's a turn right on the hill or after the hill, so you can't see the exit. And there are a lot of places on the track that look very similar to each other. So there's one long right-hander that opens up into a quick left and a long straightaway where you basically just cut the apex and hammer down the straightaway. And a few turns later, there's another turn that looks almost exactly like it, but instead of a straightaway, there's a very tight left-hander right after that turn. You pop over a hill and there's a left-hander, and if you confuse those two turns, and if you think you're going on the straightaway when you're actually going to hit that left-hander, you're going to really screw up your line and cause the people behind you some heartache as well. You could run off the track. So it takes most riders a long time to learn that track. I had 6 sessions to get on there and get comfortable, and I'll tell you right now, I never did go fast on that bike. I made a conscious decision. I wasn't going to crash a friend's expensive bike. I was going to be mature. I was going to take a pragmatic approach and learn the track first, and it took me the whole day to sort of get comfortable with the track, and even at the end I did not really have all the 20 turns down completely, but it took me all day to start riding it smoothly. The other thing I did is the bike is the last kind of big powerful super bike that came without any real electronic aids. So there's no traction control, no anti-wheelie, nothing like that, and so I decided that I was gonna ride it slowly. I decided I was gonna ride the bike slowly and basically be in 3rd and 4th gear. Now this is a 2nd to 5th gear track if you're really banging through the gears, but I didn't want to get into 2nd gear because I didn't want to get into a situation where I was wheeling out of corners or spinning the rear tire out of corners. I just wasn't comfortable enough with the bike to do that. So what I did was I learned the racetrack, I learned the race line, and I specifically took it super easy on the straights to give other people behind me a chance to pass me, because I didn't want to be that guy with the super powerful bike that flies down the straights and you can't pass him and then slows down in the corners and you're frustrated and sitting behind him. I was in the slow group, and the only place the slow group was allowed to pass was in the straightaways. And if I was going to go flying down the straightaways at top speed, that would make it impossible for guys on 600s or less powerful sport bikes behind me to pass. And then in the corners where they were way faster than I was, they would be frustrated being stuck behind me, and I didn't want to cause bad feelings. So I'd come out of the corner in 3rd gear, accelerate nice and slowly, let people pass on the straightaway, and then concentrate on sitting on the race line in the next set of corners. So how did the day go? Well, there were some ups and downs. I was terrified all morning. So I'd be lying to you if I said I wasn't a little scared of this thing. This is way too much bike for me, and it's got no real electronic aids. Thankfully, this organization that puts it on, Pro 6, is they're associated with a motorcycle store in Toronto. They assigned me and 2 other new guys who were their first time on the track to a coach, and the coach took us around the first couple of laps super slowly just to show us the race line. We were going really slowly, letting everyone pass us in the straightaways, which is something I continued to do afterwards too. But at least the coach was really good at letting us know where the race line was, so that I wasn't, that I kind of have an idea when I went out there on my own, and I wouldn't be all over the place and running off the track. Okay, so how did it go? Well, first of all, I was the rider with the least track experience on the day. There were about 65 riders on the day, and I was the one, probably the only one who had only been on the track once, and it was years ago, so basically I counted that as never being on the track. And so predictably, I approached it with a humble attitude. I wasn't expecting to be fast. I didn't want to try to be a hero or be the Rossi in the group. All I wanted to do was to be safe, go around and improve each time I went out. There were 6 sessions that we did, I went out with the slow group, and I was going to be the slowest guy in the slow group, so I'm not surprised. That probably was one of the slowest, that's for sure, and purposely so. But the first 2 sessions were with a coach. He showed us the race line. The third session, which was the last morning session, I made a big mistake. I was supposed to be in the green group, and I accidentally, because I lost track of time and I didn't double check, but I accidentally went out with the yellow group and got in their way quite a bit. That was my own fault. It was stupid of me to go out. They let me go out. They didn't check my credentials on the way out on the track. And I ended up just having people passing me left, right, and center, and basically getting in people's way, which probably frustrated them to no end, so I apologize for that. As soon as I started getting passed and smoked, I got frazzled and lost my race line. It was my first time on the track without a coach, and so I started making big time mistakes and screwing up, and it was just a shit show. So lunch came and I was totally demoralized. I was seriously thinking about calling it a day, because I thought I'm just gonna crash this bike and hurt myself and destroy my friend's bike, and I'll have to pay for fixing this expensive motorcycle and all that. But I thought, well, maybe if I waited out till the afternoon, I'll make it out of there okay. All right, morning session done. I was terrified the entire time. I'm slow and overly careful, and I accidentally went out with the yellow group and got my ass kicked. So this afternoon I'm just gonna take it easy, make sure that I'm out there with the green group, with the slow guys, and just work on being smooth. 3rd and 4th gear the whole time. I'm not gonna use 2nd. I wanna smooth drive out, and the bike has enough torque to come out of the turns in 3rd gear and not skid the tire. I might actually be doing too much skidding in 2nd gear rolling on, so I'll just keep it in 3rd, try to keep safe out there, and try to survive and keep the shiny side up. I was also a little intimidated by the amount of carnage that happened on the day, because right first session, the red group, which David was in, there were a couple of crashes right off the bat. There were probably at least 6 crashes, which is pretty much like a 10% attrition rate, which is a really high attrition rate on a track day. Most people would be rather taken aback if someone told them that they were going to go out on the track and they had a 1 in 10 chance of crashing and destroying their bike and hurting themselves or somebody else. So, but I lasted through lunch. I gathered myself up. I decided I'm going to go out for at least one more session in the afternoon and see if it's better with the green group. I did, and I'm glad I did, because all of a sudden I started to get a little bit more of I started to get a little bit more confidence, and I started to follow the line. On my first afternoon session, I made a couple of fairly large mistakes, but they weren't anything that I couldn't fix. I realized what my mistake was and started working on fixing them, and started seeing results right away. Not that I was going that much faster at any given point, but I was going much more smoothly, which made for a faster lap overall. I never went fast, really, but I definitely improved throughout the day. In the 5th session, I kind of surprised myself a little bit. I actually got behind another rider who was going probably a little bit slower than I was comfortable going, and I thought, well, I could go a little bit faster, but at the same time, I didn't want to take any crazy chances to pass this person. So I just followed him around, but it was a big confidence booster to be rolling around behind somebody that was slower than you are, and realizing, hey, I'm not the slowest person here. So that was nice. In the 6th session, I had my most smooth laps. I went out and I rolled around a couple of laps really smoothly, came upon a slower rider, not the same person, another person, and this person was letting everybody by, and by this time I was going a little bit faster. Everyone was still passing me, but I was going a little bit faster than I had been before, and I made a pass. Of course, the person let me through because they were just kind of cruising the straightaways, making sure that they weren't delaying anybody like I had been before, and I still was doing. But that was great. I got to the end of session 6 and I decided that's it. There was another session, there was one more session, 7th session, but I thought, well, I made it out alive. 6 sessions. I'm gonna skip the last one because I'm gonna quit while I'm ahead. I haven't crashed a bike and I haven't done anything stupid, so I even passed a guy in the last session, so that was that's good enough for me. I'll take that and run with it. And that's what I did. I ended the day, which was good because in the 7th session there was a pretty major crash in my group, the green group, and a guy got hurt, and unfortunately it was a guy I was talking to earlier. Super nice guy, very supportive of when I told him it was my first day. He actually said that he followed me a little bit and said I was on the race line nicely, and he was very welcoming, and so I was really worried about him. Turns out he was fine. He was there with his son, but he did take a pretty hard tumble, and he cartwheeled his bike down the track, and his bike was pretty much totaled. So it was an unfortunate ending to the day for him, and makes you realize that you're taking chances on the track that you maybe don't take on the road. So overall, my day was very positive. I never did go fast. I never did do anything that looked anywhere remotely like Troy Corser or Valentino Rossi. But what I did do was between 9 a.m. in the morning and 5 p.m. in the afternoon, I became a much better rider. So, to wrap things up, why do you want to do a track day? To become a better rider. That's basically the #1 reason. To learn how to handle your bike better, and to do it in a controlled space where you can ride fast and you don't have to worry about oncoming traffic, deer, other gravel and crap on the road that might make you lose traction and fall. And of course, not all tracks are safe, but they're safer and it's a much more controlled environment. The dangers on a track day, there are many. You are the biggest danger to yourself. You could screw something up and run off the track and crash. You could crash into somebody else. But there are other dangers that are beyond your control. There could be a hothead out there who thinks he's Marc Marquez and takes you out on a turn trying to pass. So, you know, and the truth is, you sign a waiver that says whatever damage happens to your bike happens, and you pay for it. Even if someone else takes you out and it's their fault, you're paying for the damage to your bike. So guys, thanks for watching. Thank you to David for his generosity for loaning me that awesome Ducati to ride. If you find this channel entertaining or valuable, do consider subscribing. I always appreciate subscribers and any support or love you can throw our way. So again, thanks for watching. Different Spokes signing off, and may the spokes be with you.